Steve Baker, Chris Hook, Coach Rob Deck. And we just had our first week of high school playoffs, and there is a lot to cover. It's also the trade deadline for the NFL was today, so we're going to touch on that. We're going to touch a little bit on Ohio State football and college football in general. So lots to cover today, guys. Let's start with high school coverage. Coach, I'll go straight to you. You were at Hoban this week and saw Lamar Sperling kind of go off. So tell us about that game. Let's start there.
Man, this kid is amazing. For a kid in the first half to score 5 touchdowns, was over 200-something plus yards, played one series in the third quarter. That was his 6th touchdown, and to finish with 300-plus yards.
Wow.
And didn't play in the fourth quarter.
And that's in in a half and one series. He had 300-plus yards and 6 touchdowns.
Yes. And, like I said, what people don't understand about Lamar is a very humble kid. He don't care about awards. All he cares about is winning for his team and trying to get to the state championship. That's talking about the matchup with them and Barberton. Barberton Magic, for 2 years in a row, they got put out second week. I'm going to say they're going to get out third year in a row. They're going to get put out third year in a row. They looking for great things for Barberton Magic, but as y'all know, I picked Hoban to win the championship in Division II. And those guys are the real deal. They ready. And they set out a lot of starters last week.
Yeah, and you said Sperling had 6 touchdowns. That's 36 points that he accounted for. Well, with the extra point after, but they put up 57. So Hoban, yes, Sperling carried that team, but they didn't stop there. They kept putting points on the board, and that just shows that it's not just a one-man team. They can spread the ball. They can do other things.
Yes. They quarterback, he had a great game, placing the ball real good. Peyton Cook is doing a great job. You had a little Hightower stepped up. He scored. He did some great things as well. And Coach Crable did his thing. He did a little bit better blocking this week.
That's good to see from Jaden Crable.
I don't know. I'm thinking Zero Macon. He may have a huge role with Barberton, but I don't see Barberton coming out on this one, and especially if you can't stop Mr. Number 32, Mr. Ohio Football.
That's right.
He got to get the award. It's hands down. He's the best running back in the state of Ohio, the best running back in this city. I've seen other running backs throughout the state and mainly throughout the city. He's the best of the best, pound for pound.
Definitely. Like you were saying, Coach, Barberton probably going to get bounced again. Hoban is just too tough. We all picked him to win the state championship in Division II. And you look at this bracket, man. This is one of the toughest brackets I've seen in a long time. I was up for 3 hours last night trying to come up with picks for this bracket. This bracket is so tough. And it all starts with the only game that I think we can unanimously agree on right off the bat, and that's Hoban over Barberton.
Yeah, I would say. There's some other good games in that matchup, but we'll go to that region in a little bit. Talk a little about the game that I covered this week, and that's the Jefferson Falcons playing Poland for the second time in 3 weeks. That was a 6-11 matchup. Jefferson coming into that game, mind you, never winning a playoff game. They have never won a playoff game in their school history. The first time that they've actually hosted a playoff game, last time they were in the playoffs was '99. So there's a lot of history there with Jefferson. They had some self-inflicted wounds, a blocked field goal, a blocked extra point. But they came out with the win 14-13. After the podcast is over here today, you'll be able to see that some of that footage and hear the interview with Coach Hannah. I have that as well. But Jefferson, again, they're coming in. They have a slogan, it's BTC, on all of their coaches' hoodies, and that's Be the Change. That got instilled. And, again, you can hear Coach Hannah talk about what that means, but it's, involving the community and being fully involved. Again, nobody in that community has seen the playoff victory until this week. So that's kind of cool. Again, 14-13, they escaped from Poland And it's awesome to see that for them as well.
Absolutely. Big shout out to Jefferson and Coach Hanna. That was such a big win for not just Jefferson, but the whole Ashtabula County. It's down to only just Geneva and Jefferson now, the only teams in the playoffs from that county, our county. So it's kind of exciting to see them make it so far. And shout out to Hoban as well. That was a huge win they had. And shout out to Buchtel pulling off a big upset.
We'll talk about Buchtel here. Let's talk about some of the matchups. First thing I want to talk about, though, that with matchups is the 8-9 matchup. I know Chris is tired of hearing about it. I know I talked about it before. We talked about what's that magic number. Is it 8? Is it 12? Is it 10? Is it 16? We don't know. But the 8-9 matchups, there were – Chris, what are the stats that you have?
All right. Well, since you kept bringing it up last week, I took it upon myself to do some studying and have some stats here for you. All right. So out of – we have 28 regions. We had 12 9s beat 8s, almost half.
Yeah, you didn't know that, did you, Coach?
and we're talking big time regions here too. We're talking Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, all the way down. Every division had at least one of these upsets. Like I said, almost half of them were upsets. But here's some interesting stuff for you here, Steve. The winner of this 8-9 matchup has to play number 1 in the bracket. So the reward for making it to the playoffs, pulling off an upset, getting a playoff win, here's your reward. You got to play Cincinnati Moeller. You got to play, and some of the other teams on here too. We got Avon, Chardon, Massillon, Winton Woods, and Kirtland. Those are the teams these 9 seeds are going to have to play in the second round.
Yeah, I mean, Gahanna Lincoln's another one in Region 3.
Mm-hmm. But of these teams, you have North Royalton, okay, Division 1 moving on. They got to play Avon. You have Geneva. Love Geneva. Very proud of what they did last week. 49-48 win over Gilmore in the thriller. Well, now they got to go play Chardon. So that's where it gets a little tough. Canal Winchester pulls off the upset against Columbus Independence. And now they got to go play Massillon Washington. Hamilton Ross, same thing. They got to play Winton Woods. And then Hanover United. These are the ones that jumped out to me the most as 8-9 matchups that now they got to play Kirtland. So that's where the challenge comes for these teams. You made it past the first round. It's a great feeling. Everyone's excited on your team, but now you got to go play the best team in the state.
Yeah, I mean, you have Xavier Moeller coming as well.
Xavier is interesting that they were a 9 seed. They were 4-6. I didn't get a chance to check out their schedule. I probably should have before I came in. Yes. So there you go. Xavier's always dangerous in the playoffs. Moeller is a team they're very familiar with. They play them all the time. So.
And Barber is another 8 seed that got to face a tough challenge.
Yeah.
Speaking of 8 and 9s, who did at the event?
Mm-hmm. Hamilton Ross, they came in 5-5. They won 41-7 against Northwest. Which is a big win for them. That's a 9 beating an 8. They won 41-7. Good job. Here's Winton Woods.
Yep.
The defending champion.
Yeah.
Geneva 49-48, big game, back and forth, comes up with the win. Here's the 2-time defending champs in Chardon.
Yep.
It's
tough to put your kids in that situation. And what can you tell your kids all week in practice? Just got to build them up. But when you got to face a monster like that, it's tough.
Yeah, and with these teams like Xavier and Moeller, Geneva and Chardon, probably North Royalton and Avon as well, these are teams that are familiar with each other, probably did play each other in the regular season.
Yeah, and again, going back to the Jefferson game, I forgot to mention, with them playing Girard this week, they've played Girard early in the season. They lost that game 21-6. So Jefferson now, they beat Poland twice in 3 weeks. Now they have to go back and be like, all right, this is a team that we didn't beat in the regular season. Mm-hmm. We're seeing them again now in the playoffs in the second round. What's that message to those kids? And, again, you'll be able to hear that later, the message that Coach sends to those kids every day.
Yeah.
So any other matchups do you see, either one of you, that you're kind of like, wow, that would be – like, for me, I'm looking at Division I, Region 1 right in front of me, and honestly, seeing all these teams is exciting, but I think for me, the most exciting game in this one is Cleveland Heights at Ignatius.
Oh, yeah.
I had a tough time deciding who's going to win this game.
Yeah.
But then me always go to strength of schedule. I looked at Cleveland Heights, and Cleveland Heights struggled with St. Vincent St. Mary.
That's their only loss, though.
That's their only loss, but they struggled throughout the season.
Correct.
You know, teams that they should have won, you know, with some of the talent that they have, they didn't convince me that they should move on to week 3. You know, I look at
To play Eds?
Yeah,
Like,
to
I mean,
play Eds.
no offense to Jackson, but
Right. I mean, but then you got to look at St. Ignatius, Coach Kyle. Playoff experience, well-coached team, which Coach Kyle's team is going to come ready and prepared to play. And I don't know. And so I'm going with Cleveland St. Ignatius with that one. And my best friend is the head coach of Cleveland Heights. So, you know, I know I'm going to call for him later on.
maybe not his best
I was
friend
going to
after
say, you
this.
guys still best friends after this one?
And I know Hicks going to call the offensive coordinator. But I'm just looking at the strength of schedule and how they played throughout the season and what talents and skills that they have. And like I said, when they real test came against St. Vincent St. Mary, and they didn't show up.
It's a tough matchup. I was staring at it for a good 20 minutes, like which way do I go with this game?
Yeah.
You know, these schools aren't that far apart from each other. The Ignatius and Heights are probably a 10-minute drive from each other, so these kids do know each other. I gotta, as hard as it is to do, I'm gonna pull the upset. I'm going Cleveland Heights. They got a lot of momentum right now. They're looking good. I've never seen a Cleveland Heights team this dominant in a long time.
So I honestly haven't done my bracket yet. I'll do that probably tomorrow. But I think I'm going to give it to Heights.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm going to give it to Heights.
So I'm the only one
You're the only one going with Ignatius. I got to give it to the public school, I think, on this one.
I like the Heights, but again, me, I got to.
He's not feeling the hype for Heights.
And another game that's standing out, you know, is the rematch with Kent McKinley.
Two of the best.
Yeah.
Two of the biggest schools in the state, and
McKinley
two
and Mennonite.
powerhouses that you just get excited about seeing these kinds of teams play. And then there's also Medina and Wadsworth.
Oh yeah,
That's the best thing about playoffs. As you know, if you're not in the high school playoffs, you need to be, because every week is exciting. Every week you look at these teams and you're like, man, who do I pick? And it is hard. Like Chris said, he spent 3 hours figuring this out. I haven't even started yet, so I have a whole day probably tomorrow dedicated to looking at these brackets and trying to figure it out. So it's awesome. Looking at Region 3, I kind of skip over Region 2. There's some good ones there. But I'm going to go to Region 3 here. The game that stands out to me, Pickerington Central versus Pickerington North.
Absolutely. Big time rivalry game there.
always the ultimate game, always hometown rival.
Pick Central won it last year, didn't they?
Yeah, they won it last year. I don't know if they won it. Did they win it this year? By any chance? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think Central won it and North lost. So this game could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's the tale of two cities in one. Because they're only what, across the street?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, right. They're right there.
You know, so it's like, man, who? But I pick Central.
Me too.
I think I'm going to go Central as well on that one.
I think North. they scared. The last time these teams was really dominant was when the kid Mr. Sawyer replaced with the Ohio State University.
Yeah, which we'll get into a little bit later. That's a good tease there. Region 4, you have Moeller and Xavier. Again, we talked about that, how crazy that is. Again, a 9 versus a 1, and just those teams being so close to each other as well. That's a good one.
Region 4 has a lot of really good matchups in this round, but it's the next round that's going to be really exciting. Because you're going to see the teams like Elder, Moeller go to the Final Four, essentially, and that's when they're really going to pick up in that division. I think the best division is Region 5.
That's exactly what I'm
Division
going.
2, Region 5.
That's exactly what I'm sitting on as well.
This region right here is just full of dominant teams.
Let's talk about Region 5 for a minute. Let's go first one. You have Hoban, which won 57-14, taking on Barberton, who beat Rhodes 35-6. That's our first game, is Hoban-Barberton. And I know Coach has been waiting for that matchup for months. He's been waiting to see this one happen.
Yeah, I'm looking forward for this matchup here. I'm also looking forward for the St. Vincent St. Mary's Fitch matchup.
That's a rematch, isn't it? Didn't they play earlier in the year?
I don't think they played earlier in the year.
Did they not? I may be wrong.
No, I don't think they played earlier.
No, Austintown only has one loss, though.
Yeah. And their only loss is to Massillon.
There you go.
So they didn't play early this year. So what I'm thinking is, and again, I reflect back on the strength of schedules. You know, I picked Akron St. Vincent St. Mary in that matchup because Fitch didn't really show me that this year. With the talent that they have, with far to Division kids going to Division I schools, Power 5 schools, they really didn't show me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Then Massillon was a true test for them. They didn't really step up to the plate to show me like, okay, ride with me.
You know, you talk about that. I just want to talk. Talking about having grit for a second. They have a 4 overtime game against Wadsworth.
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
The team that's in their division.
Having a 4 overtime game is unheard of, but they did win that one, 42-35.
I actually went with Austin Town Fitch in this game. Austin Town has. I know.
I want the rematch, man.
They just continue to win. They keep winning. So I think they're gonna pull off the upset against, even though they're the home team, they're the higher seed. I gotta go Fitch. I feel good with them. All right.
The
rematch. See what happens on Friday.
All right, next game in that one, Riverside. They're from our area. They're not Ashby County, but they're Lake County, but they're right there, taking on Nordonia, who won their game 30-0 against Garfield Heights. Riverside won 63-6 against Lakeside.
Yeah, well, we know that Lakeside's not that good of a team. Riverside is. I'm pretty sure that's Chardon's only loss this year was Riverside.
It is.
This is another game I spent a lot of time going back and forth on which one do I like, Nordonia's been tough all year, but I got to go with Riverside. I got to go with the boys that I know back home. They're tough. They're the best team I've seen Riverside have in years.
Yeah. Coach, what do you have on that one?
I'm going with the upset. Macedonia.
Oh, Nordonia.
All right.
The Browns won last night, so I got to go with my man's alma mater, Mr. Defensive Back himself, who got the big payday.
Oh, so now that's his new best friend. That's his new best friend. And then,
so, man, I got to go with the payday, man.
And then we have Hudson, who comes in undefeated, going against Walsh, who we've seen play.
I'm not a big fan of Walsh. I'm just not a big fan of a team that likes to pass. 85% of you might as well go play 7-on-7. That's just my outlook on it. Run the football, mix it up a little bit. I'm going with Hudson. I think Hudson is, what's their logo? The aviators, the sail, the ship.
Something like that.
The Explorers.
Yeah, the Explorers. That's it. They're gonna ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, I got Hudson winning too. I think like you said, Coach, the passing, it's too much. It's too soft. It's just not enough for a team like Hudson.
Mm-hmm. Makes it boring.
Yeah.
Play football.
Hudson's gonna come in there tough and physical.
Big boy fans.
Region 6. I got a good one here.
Another tough one.
Yeah. So Region 6, I'm looking ahead to the regional final on this one.
Yep.
Because I'm excited to see Avon Lake. I think it's going to happen. Avon won 49-0. Avon Lake 26-0. They both shut out their opponents this week. And I think they're both going to just meet in the regional final here.
That's probably what's going to happen. It seems to happen every year, but let's not count out some of the teams that are in this bracket still. We have Mad Anthony Wayne, we have Olmsted Falls, we have Medina Highland, North Olmsted, Toledo Central still in this bracket. This bracket is crazy good. Anything could happen, but you're probably right, Steve. I'll probably end up picking it that way, Avon Lake, in the matchup at the final.
Coach was shaking his head when I said it.
I disagree. I'm going with Toledo Central Catholic
over Avon Lake
to win that region.
Oh.
So I like Medina Highland, but I think Toledo Central Catholic, they a little bit, they got an edge. I think they want to try to meet Cincinnati again, Whitten Woods for that rematch. Try to get that paid.
Oh yeah, that'd be a good one.
So that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Whitten Woods and Toledo Central Catholic for that region to try
to be in the final there.
Yeah, meet in that finals.
So Region 7, we have the Massillon taking on the number 9 seed, Canal Winchester. Congratulations, Canal Winchester. Good luck next week. But you also have Big Walnut in this division. I know, Coach, you picked them to take this one. You have Canton Hoover as well. You do have a 2 overtime game. St. Francis de Sales over Dover 21-20. That again in 2 overtimes they won that one by 1 point. Anything else in this one you see that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we know Maslin is in this Region 7 here. I think what people are sleeping on is Big Walnut.
Yep.
Big Walnut is, and as I stated the other day, when, last week, I think they my Cinderella sleeper. If they creep through there. And then Uniontown Lake, I think they played, the Sales. That game, I was, like you, 2-3 hours trying to decide if we're going to go with the Sales or we're going to go with Uniontown Lake.
Yeah.
I gave Lake the edge, but I really like the Sales, but I'm going to go with Uniontown Lake with that. And North Canton Hoover and Westerville South, North Canton didn't impress me the entire year. They got by week 1. I'm going with Westerville South, week 2 against them.
Coach, you and I have basically the same exact bracket here. The only thing I wanted to say about this bracket, and I only bring this up because I hope you got you so fired up last week. I paid attention. I don't know how close. Is Maslin in Stark County?
Yes.
Okay, so we have Maslin Perry, Maslin Washington, North Canton Hoover, Uniontown Lake. All teams from Stark County in the Columbus region.
I'm still pissed off.
That's one thing I wanted to touch on.
There's not too many teams up there for those guys to be traveling down.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, that's just
A lot of schools in Columbus. They can't.
A lot of those Columbus teams to participate down there, the city teams in Columbus, and keep those teams up here. I mean, there's plenty of teams up here that they can play. OSHA, stop sending those kids further down the highway.
I agree.
And with that being said, it was an accident with the team traveling, last week that far.
Yeah.
I think it was 2 or 3 of the buses had accident. So that, and just imagine, we having pretty decent weather. Just imagine if we had sleet, snow.
Yeah.
You got to think of the kids.
Can't wait.
So.
It's his favorite time of the year.
Yep.
All right.
Man.
So Region 8, moving right along here. Winton Woods, again, Hamilton Ross, cool. You beat Cincinnati Northwest 41-7 as a 9 seed. But here's Winton Woods for you. Good luck. Talking about Cinderellas, this might be the Cinderella story of the year. Little Miami coming in, ranked 15th. They get the number 2 seed, Xenia, and they win in a 2 overtime game, 27-24.
Yeah, and on top of that, too, you also have Troy and Cincinnati Anderson. Same bracket, same matchup bracket.
7-10, yep.
Cincinnati Anderson pulls that upset. So now we have a game between Little Miami and Cincinnati
You
Anderson.
have 10 and 15.
10 and 15 going for against the spot against the play. The one's winning.
I say there's again. Where's that magic number? It's that magic number 16. You get these cool stories where you're gonna have Cincinnati Anderson, who came in at 5-5, now hosting a playoff game against Little Miami. But Little Miami was 3-7 coming into this.
Yeah.
So you have a 5-5 team going because it's a 3-7 team in the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, well, I say Little Miami has little chance getting past this game, especially. And if they do, they got to play either Pequot or Winton Woods at some point. I don't see anything happening more past this, but it's a good story. It's a feel good story.
Yeah, it's cool
for Little Miami.
Feel good story. Region 9, Geneva. Here they are.
Oh yes.
They 49-48. Lots of defense in that game. So Geneva, they get to play Chardon. Again, we talked about it. Chardon's 2-time defending state champs, and they get to go against Geneva, who they knocked out of the playoffs. Last time Geneva was in the playoffs, got to Chardon and knocked them out again.
Yeah, congratulations, Geneva. It makes me very proud.
Yeah.
It's my alma mater, it's where I played football. We have a lot of friends. Obviously, we live there. It's very exciting. The whole community is pumped to have a good football team again. They've been good the last few years, but they're going to get Chardon. I just don't see it getting past this.
You picked Chardon on that one, Coach?
Oh,
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Yeah, right. I
No.
think we all did. You got Holy Name beating Copley 49-13. And then reads his Region 10 here. Again, nothing really stands out. And Defiance, number 13, taking out number 4, Cloverleaf. That's a big upset. 63-28.
Yeah, by almost 40
It was
points.
a pretty big upset. Again, that's a 13 taken out of 4, so there's another possible Cinderella run there.
We also have Parma Padaway
Yeah.
pulling off the upset over Buckeye. 35-7.
We talked about the senior Ontario game, the Mansfield Senior, again, 38-0. That was a blowout there as well.
Sorry.
Chris will have a little technical difficulties here, but that's okay. All right,
Okay.
Region 11. Nothing really stands out for me, unfortunately.
Not yet. Once these, no, I'm saying once these.
Yeah,
once these games get going a little more and we start getting to a third or fourth round, you're going to start seeing a lot more stuff happen with these brackets.
Region 12, you have Tippecanoe, 42-0.
Wow.
Yeah. Trotwood Madison, 40-33. That's an upset there. 11 taken out of 6. Nothing really else there.
I think it kind of went the way we all planned it was going to go.
Yeah. Region 13. Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
saying everything went out the way we said it was.
Yeah, Region 13. This is a good one. West Branch beats Mogador Field. Struthers takes out Edgewood. We all thought that was going to happen.
Yeah.
Coach, I'm going to leave it to you. Here comes Buchtel. Here they are. They win 24-21 against Peninsula Woodridge. They end up drawing Fulton Northwest this week. Game will be played in Fulton, in Canal Fulton, because Buchtel is a 13 seed. So they, again, break out against a number 4, but now they get the number 5 team. Can they do it again?
Well, again, I was pounding on this all night, as y'all see. I don't have it. I'm still pounding on it. I mean, I really love my city teams. I want to see my city teams succeed. But my thing is, when you playing teams, when you're not winning your non-league games, then you dominated the city. That don't impress me, because I look at each city team and they play their non-league schedules and you're not winning, and then I started thinking and started talking to, you guys, a few other guys. They just need to dismantle the city league and just allow them to play like a non-league schedule, or probably schedule 1 or 2 teams in the city.
To be a freelance team.
To get more, more strength of the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about scheduling. I mean, and nothing against North. North is good, but when you beat teams like that, and then like when they played Garfield, I think the report cards were out. I think Garfield had 30-something kids that was ineligible.
Yep.
And half of the kids, 11 of the kids were starters, and then the front line. That's not a challenge to me.
No.
It's just not a challenge, and it bothers me. I want to pick them, but then I look at Canal Fulton Northwest. They not no pushover. They gonna go in. Canal Fulton had some decent games, and they did their thing throughout the season.
Yeah.
But what Buchtel's offense is not consistent. Their defense is solid. Their defense is keeps them in the game. The offense is questionable.
Which team shows up next week? Yeah.
It's like they're all over the place. They don't have an identity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Canal Fulton is always tough. It's such a good program. And you were saying consistency. Canal Fulton's consistently good. Can Buchtel be consistently good this week? I personally picked Buchtel to win this game. I think with the momentum they have, I think they can pull off the upset heading into.
So are they your Cinderella team then?
I mean, just for this game, I'd say that.
I mean, they're a 13,
Yeah.
and now you have them going to the 3rd round.
Yeah, so I'd say so at this point. They're one of my Cinderella teams. Like Coach said, they have a great defense. They've been playing tough against the teams they're supposed to beat.
Yeah, and then also in this one, again, is that Jefferson Girard. One thing I forgot to mention about Jefferson is they are joining the CVC next year, which they should be in that league.
Mm-hmm.
So they should play Geneva and Edgewood and Lakeside every year. They should be in that league. So good for them for finally making that jump.
Yeah.
All right, Region 14, Glenville.
State champs. I'm calling it right now.
Glenville. They have a tough matchups. I'm not necessarily this week, but I mean Van Wert's in there. Sandusky Perkins is in there.
That's the game I'm looking forward to right there. Sandusky Perkins and Van Wert.
West Holmes is in. Yeah, there's some good teams in that one. I think I'm going to pick Glenville too, but there's some good games coming up with Glenville for sure.
It's not going to be easy. I picked Glenville to win, that division. And I just think their road is going to be a little tougher than most teams in their division.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because if they win this week, they beat Bellevue. They got to play the winner of Bellevue Clear and Elyria Catholic. No two teams that are going to be easy.
Yeah.
If they win this region, I don't think no other team
He's going to stop them.
is going to stop them.
Yeah.
Division 4, yeah, probably not.
Not Jefferson?
Not Jefferson. I don't think.
They loaded, man.
I know. I know they are.
I'd love to see Jefferson win the state championship. Don't get me wrong, but against Glenville. And then in the next region, we have the other team that I think has a really good shot at winning the state championship Division 4, and that's Steubenville.
Yeah.
As long as they can get past St. Clairsville in the end, I think they're going to get past Columbus East this week. That's the team I could see.
That's when our coach had built it, that was our thorn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they good. They good.
Mm-hmm.
Been a great program for years.
Yeah.
So, we have Cincinnati, Wyoming, and Shawnee. Did I skip one? No,
we're
good.
somewhere.
So Cincinnati, Wyoming, Shawnee, Clinton Massey is in there. Urbana's in there. Archbishop Alter is in there. I'm sorry, I can't talk today. So, again, some good games there. We got some good games coming
Eaton
up.
left. They're a 14 seed.
Yeah.
They made it past Bishop Fenwick last week, so maybe there's a Cinderella team.
You got another Cinderella in Region 17 here, Chris. Cardinal Mooney. 13 seed taking out another 4 seed. That's like the third or fourth one. We didn't even talk about that.
Yeah,
but 13 taking out a 4 as Mooney wins 45-14.
I picked Mooney to win the state championship in Division 5, so I can't back out on them now. I have to pick them in this game again.
You think they'll beat Perry if they meet them?
I would have to pick them, I suppose, but I would tell you that's a matchup I hope happens, because I would love to see Perry and Mooney in a game, and that would probably be a neutral site.
It would be a regional final.
I mean, so who knows where that game would be played? It might be played in Cleveland.
That'd be fun.
That'd be a great game to go see.
I know Coach was looking at Sugar Creek, I think, right?
Oh man, I'm checking out. I'm waiting for Region 19.
19.
We're almost there.
18. All right, we'll move on.
Yeah.
19. Here's my state champs, Ironton. I just picked them to see Coach's reaction, but I'm going to stick with them, seeing how they won 51-7 this week.
I picked Ironton as well, but my thing is we got another 13.
We do.
Diana,
Columbus Academy, yeah, another 13-4.
You know,
We also have an overtime win in this one with a 10 seed edging out the 7 seed as well in West Muskegon.
I think Harvest Prep is going to give Ironton a run for their money.
No, you too. Yep, that's going to be a good final.
That's a regional final there.
Each year they've been improving.
Yeah. Germantown, yeah, again, here we go. Let's go to Region 21, fellas.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big bad
Kirtland.
With a chance to match up against Mogador in the finals, that's something I would look forward to. That'd be another game I couldn't be really excited to see.
Looking ahead, again, we don't know what's going to happen, but looking ahead in this one, one game that I would really like to see is Kirtland and Cuyahoga Heights. I think that would be a fun one as well.
So you're saying Cuyahoga Heights going to upset
Valley Christian? I could see it. I mean, again, I don't know, but just looking at the names and knowing a little bit about it, I think that would be fun to see. I have to do my research for it.
This is probably the best region of these small school divisions right here.
Yeah.
Is this region right here. There's a lot of good matchups. Canton Central, Youngstown Christian, a lot of good teams here. It could go any way. To see any of these teams play in the Final Four would be great.
Yeah, again, going into Region 6, Region 7, there's a lot. I don't have a lot on these ones. I actually don't have the scores on those. If you guys see anything that stands out.
Oh, Region 22, yes. I have 8 teams in this region alone with more than 8 wins. A lot of really good teams in this bracket as far as record-wise, as far as talent-wise, as far as big games go. I mean, these are Columbus area teams, so there's going to be a lot of rival there. That's all I got to say about this bracket.
Yeah.
I don't know much about these teams. Just their records all jumped out at me.
I say anything you see, Coach, 6 or 7 there, we can move on. If not,
I don't see anything. We're not dogging out those regions, folks.
we're not. There's just a lot to cover.
Yeah.
I promise. Next week we'll get into a little bit more as teams get eliminated, and it gets a little bit easier to kind of cover everybody. And again, we want to cover some other things for time purposes, so we're going to move on to the next level. Let's move on to college. So some big games, but I want to talk about the big one. Ohio State, Penn State. It was a noon game but it was still a Halloween game. Next year, that game's not on Halloween, actually.
That's too bad.
It's a Wisconsin game on Halloween next year, which I'm a little upset about. But let's talk about that game. It was a little bit scary going into that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Everyone was kind of holding their breath. But the good guys, the Buckeyes, pulled it out. Chris, go ahead. I'll let you take it away, and then I'll add on.
I was at work for most of this game, so I was constantly checking my phone about every 5 seconds, ignoring all my tables and all my customers because I was too busy checking the game. It was tense moment. You could feel the tension every time you turned it on. You saw the score getting close and close. But once they got that pick six, that's when it turned the whole thing around. They started going on a roll. They picked it up in the fourth quarter. The defense looked great. The offense looked amazing as usual. This team is still rolling, and I still see them winning the national championship.
All right, there you go. Coach, go ahead. Oh, boy, here we go. Everyone take it.
Especially on my social media, you got all those Michigan fans, they praying for our downfall. And what they fail to realize, Penn State play us tough every year.
So everybody plays us tough.
And anybody know when you go to Happy Valley, that is one of the roughest and hardest stadiums to win it. And like I kept telling them, it's 4 quarters in football. Listen to what I'm telling you. It's 4 quarters in football. And like you said, that interception and that defense, and this is not the defense of last year. Now, if this was our defense of last year, we'd have lost that game.
No.
We'd have lost that game. This defense got a little, I call it the it factor, that bark.
Silver bullet defense.
So, so y'all keep hoping and wishing, and then that team up north had problems with Sparty. So, but they was waiting for our downfall. So we okay. We okay as far as Ohio State, and they still my number 1 team. I'm a Buckeye, but I'm not biased. If we won't get it done, we won't get it done. But this team got a different mojo. So they're coming.
Yeah, and I want to talk about a sophomore on this team who had a hell of a game.
Marvin Harris?
No, not Marvin. I'm talking about JT Tuimuli. I can't say his last name. I've said it 100 times. I still can't get it right. Tuimoloau, I believe is how you say it. But kid's a sophomore, and he put this team on his back this weekend. He had a pick six. He had a fumble, a strip sack. The kid made sack after sack. The kid was incredible. I'm trying to find all his stats, but he's 6'4", 270, and he's huge. This kid is great. Ryan Day, Coach Day said this is just the beginning for this kid, which is awesome.
We young.
He's very young.
That's what's scary. That's why I keep telling folks. We're young. We're not an old team. Beware. We coming.
Yeah, and C.J. Stroud, he had 354 yards, just so everyone knows.
But see, what I like about C.J. Stroud, he doesn't rush. He doesn't panic. He just takes his time, and he allows the game to come to him. I wish he run more, because if he run more, he can be very effective, and it'll be hard to watch our offense technically, because, y'all see it. If the running game's not working, we definitely got a passing game.
Yeah.
And we got the best receivers in the college football.
And I don't see any reason why Stroud shouldn't win the Heisman Trophy.
I have one reason, and that's Hooker from Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Throw a curveball. You throw a curveball. You got to go down to Jackson State. Check out Shadera.
Oh.
Sanders. I don't know. The kid is showing up.
That would be impressive to see.
What about Marvin Harrison Jr.?
Marvin Harrison Jr., you could put him in the conversation.
He's there too, but I don't know. The kid from Tennessee, he's killing it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some of these games from last week real quick. Let me pull up the scoreboard here. So we had Ohio State play Penn State. Georgia blew out Florida 42-20. Michigan, we talked about a little bit, 29-7 against Michigan State.
We ain't going to cover it. We're going to cover the fight.
I mean, all right, go ahead, do it. It's all you.
I mean, I'm just saying.
No, you're
you know,
good. Why would he? First of all, why would you walk into a team without pads on? You didn't play in the damn game.
Well, the thing what it is, what people fail to realize, because that was the big talk on social media. Now you got the parents want to charge, the players against the team, and like I was trying to tell people, social media messed it up for a lot of us.
Yep.
Because a lot that went on all the time behind the scenes, stuff that we didn't see. Now you got security guards putting
Filming
out cameras, filming stuff. That went on all the time. Just imagine during the Michigan game and Ohio State game, it goes down in that time.
Yep.
It goes down. I mean, they be in there really physically fighting.
Yep.
But it never be seen. But now you get a security guard or somebody selling popcorn, then you caught it on tape. The players ain't got their cell phones.
Right.
Yeah.
So technically, one team supposed to respect the other team, let the other team in, go first, come second, and it's more to it than just whatever happened to the tunnel and what leads to the tunnel.
You're right.
But the thing is, that goes on all the time. It's an old stadium. They just refurbish it, and they never separated the locker rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So, just like, if you go to Notre Dame, they come through that little tunnel.
But, and like I said, like, why would, again, I don't condone the fight, obviously, like, yes. But if you're that Michigan player, you weren't even in pads. You were standing on the sideline the entire game, and you tried to pick a fight with Michigan State.
I mean, and I tell people all the time, I like trash talk. We all.
Oh, we love trash, but
when it's get to being assaulting people, that's something totally different.
I agree.
That's something totally different. I like the rah-rah. Okay, guys, come on. Let's, meet at the 50. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Get the little chatter. Talk the little chatter. Okay, now let's play football.
Right.
I mean, but when you physically put your hands on someone, that's crossing the line. It's crossing the line. But it happens.
Especially if the guy didn't have pads on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
I mean, I don't know. Like you said, Steve, I don't know what he was thinking.
Like, first of all, you're talking trash, but you didn't play in the game.
It's like when you try to punch someone with a helmet on.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah. What are you?
You're just breaking your own hand here.
In hockey, they let them fight until the helmets come off.
Yeah.
That's why I like hockey.
That's the great thing about hockey.
We watched it the other day.
Never stop the fight.
We'll be watching the game tonight when I get home, I'm sure.
Right. So, I mean, let's look at some of the other games. We'll move real quick here. Notre Dame beat Syracuse.
That's a big upset.
That's a big upset. Yeah, it was big for Ohio State too. But Cincinnati loses to UCF.
That threw me off, man.
Yeah.
Cincinnati just didn't come to play.
I know. And then South Carolina, who is ranked 25th, loses to Missouri.
I was upset.
Yeah. Let's go to this week. Ohio State on the road to Northwestern.
Big game, but I think we can all know what's going to happen.
Ohio State's favored by 38. Let's just throw that out there. Michigan State taking on Illinois. Illinois is sneaky in the West. They may come out of the West here for the Big Ten. They're ranked 14th, by the way.
Isn't their coach Les Miles?
Yeah.
He's got them playing
And
tough, man.
they're favored by 15.5.
Good job.
Penn State's favored by 14 against Indiana. Alabama is playing LSU.
That is going to be a great game. It is in Death Valley. LSU, I think, is ranked 16th.
Yes.
Somewhere around there. 15th, and Bama number 6. We said it week 1, Coach. Bama can't afford to lose any more games. No. And this is a game they could possibly lose.
Bama's favored by 13.5. That's what the line's at right now.
Big of a spread. And especially since after this game, I think Bama has Auburn. Auburn just fired their head coach. This is really Bama's last chance to slip up here and get taken out of the national championship picture.
Michigan's favored by 26.5, by the way, guys.
Who are they playing?
Rutgers. It's going to be tough.
I hope so.
Clemson's going to Notre Dame. Clemson on the road at Notre Dame, only a 4-point favorite.
That's a big game.
That's a really huge game.
But
What about the Georgia game?
Georgia.
I would say that we're getting there.
We're
getting there. I was saving the big one for the last. So technically, I think it's the first time it's ever happened in the polls where you have two teams tied for second. Even on ESPN, you have Ohio State at number 2 taking on Northwestern, and then you have Tennessee at number 2 taking on Georgia.
See, they did the same thing. It was a little bit off topic here, but they already announced the preseason basketball polls. And they have, I think, Kansas and maybe, I don't even know who else, both ranked number 5.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Why? You can't put, yeah, that's not possible. You can't put one team at 6.
It's impossible.
Yeah,
We know that the loser of this game
It's not going to
is not going to be second anymore
Right.
or first.
Right.
It's going to, so.
It's a wrap. I mean,
By the way, this game's in Georgia. Georgia, an 8.5-point favorite, according to ESPN.
What time is the game?
The game is at 3:30.
Okay.
So it's not a night game. But, again, that's a big game.
that's Georgia might go down.
Wow.
Well, Steve, you were saying you really like Tennessee's quarterback.
I do.
He is a great quarterback.
Hetton Hooker is great.
Can he go against this Georgia defense?
Georgia can't
We're gonna
afford
find
to
out.
lose. Alabama can't afford to lose.
Tennessee can't afford to lose. If Tennessee loses this game, they're not going to win the division.
Ohio State can't afford to lose either because
No.
Michigan's right on our tail, as much as we hate to say it.
Yeah,
We can afford a loss before either one of those teams.
and then Clemson too. Clemson's still undefeated. So
Yeah.
those are those 5 teams.
Lots of big games this weekend, so that'll be fun. The Ohio State game, just so you guys know, is on at noon in Northwestern. Again, the Tennessee-Georgia, 3:30. That's an 8.5-point favorite. The night games are going to be 7 o'clock, Alabama, LSU. 7:30, Michigan and Rutgers. I don't know how that's a night game. I have no idea.
Michigan and Rutgers.
Yeah. And then Cal is playing USC at 10:30.
So they playing at 10 o'clock. Wow.
Yeah.
Chicago, what, 2 hours behind?
Yeah.
So they playing 10 in the morning there and 12 here.
Yeah.
They're 1 hour, so they play at 11 o'clock.
Yeah, they play at 11 o'clock. Yes.
That's early.
That's correct. I didn't think about that, but you are correct, sir. Actually, here we go. I just got a notification. Michigan State suspends 4 players, and it's an indefinite suspension, so we don't know how long.
All right. Well,
Full scholarships.
they had it coming.
So that just came through. Go ahead and talk for a minute. I'm going to look something up.
Okay.
Sorry, it's important.
On the spot. Well, I guess let's talk about
Research, folks.
let's talk about the game last night. I mean, let's start there.
Why?
Why?
It was Halloween.
It was Halloween, and I'll tell you what, that offensive line for the Bengals, if they don't sure some things up, they're going to get that quarterback killed.
Oh,
Do you know Joe Burrow was sacked 57 times last season? I did not even know anything like that because you don't think about that. You thought their offense was so good. They went to the Super Bowl. They were amazing. And he's 0-4 against the Browns.
You know Joe Burrow's never beaten the Browns.
That's what I just said.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And if that defense
Losers, yeah.
with to finally see Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney finally healthy in the game at the same time together, they looked unstoppable. And it just led to everything. So Taki started having a good game. Tommy Toba had a good game.
Tommy Togiai coming up with the fumble. Talk
Yeah.
about a Buckeye. Here we go.
I mean, Greedy Williams, other than that one jump ball that he got beat on, he played a good game. The whole defense looked great last night.
Yeah.
And
they play physical.
All three
physical.
Honestly, I think all 3 assets of our game played well last night. Yes, we had some penalties and things, but to come out on Monday Night Football when you're the only game going against the team that everyone thought was going to give the Bills and the Chiefs a run for their money for the AFC title, to then come out and beat them the way you did something that's hasn't been done this season. And that's scoring a touchdown in the second half against the Bengals. Not only did you score 1 touchdown, but you scored 3 on back-to-back-to-back drives. Again, they haven't let out a touchdown the entire second half until last night.
Well, Browns always play good on Monday night, and for some odd reason, they was, this is a known history fact, young fellas. Browns was the first team that ever
Yep.
played, and the first team.
Monday Night Football started in Cleveland.
So that was a good thing. So, and it was Halloween, and it's Myles Garrett's favorite holiday. So they came out with a different type of energy, just different type of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk real quick about trades, and then the reason I had to look some up, I'll get to in a second.
Okay.
So, quick trades real quick. T.J. Hawkinson goes to the Vikings. If I'm going to run through them, and then we can talk about the ones that stand out. So, Hawkinson to the Vikings, Chase Claypool to the Bears, William Jackson III to the Pittsburgh, Bradley Chubb gets traded to the Dolphins, Chase Edmonds to the Broncos, Jeff Wilson to the Dolphins, Calvin Ridley, not playing this year, suspended for gambling, gets traded, though, to the Jags. Jacob Martin gets traded to the Broncos. Naeem Hines to the Bills. We'll talk about that one. Rashid Fenton to the Falcons. And Dean Marlowe to the Bills. Those are the big trades today. I know some of you are like, I don't know who that is.
I think the biggest trade so far is Chase Claypool. It finally gives Justin Fields a receiver to throw to. And maybe that is what's going to propel him to finally be the NFL quarterback we've always hoped he could be.
Coach, what do you think?
It's one person that you didn't mention, Dave.
He didn't get traded. That's why.
I know he's upset. But hang in there, young fella. Hang in there, young fella. Man, because I kind of like the duo with you and Chubbs. Just hang in there. You know, your time is going to come.
Yeah, and I'm actually happy he didn't get traded. We showed last night having both of them. Yes, he only had 30. What do you have? 30 yards rushing, but he had 44 or something in receiving. So he's still in the game. He's still involved, and having that duo of Chubb and Hunt is great for Cleveland. And also, having a guy like him in the locker room, he's great in the locker room. Teammates like him, and I think trading him would have put a damper on that locker room as well.
Anytime he's on the field, it just changes the dynamic for the defense. It just changes everything that they have to do. Their scheme changes, where they line up changes. No matter if Hunt's getting the ball or not, or if Hunt and Chubb are both in the game together, just having Hunt out there changes everything for the defense.
Yeah,
you take him away
receivers
from the game. I'm not saying Dearness Johnson can't do it, but I'm saying he's not Kareem Hunt.
Or Nick Chubb.
And so you get rid of Hunt, it just changes everything.
Yeah, so let's talk about this really quick. If we have time, we can come back and talk about some more of these. But the reason I had you take over for a second, the Golden Gloves have been announced. So that's what I was looking up.
That's good. That's big news.
Let's start National League really quick. I'll run through them. Pitcher Max Fried from the Braves. Catcher from the Phillies. First baseman from the Diamondbacks. Second base, you have Brendan Rodgers from the Rockies. Third base, you have Nolan Arenado from the Cardinals. Shortstop, you have Dansby Swanson from the Braves. Left field, Ian Happ from the Cubs. Center field is Trent Grisham from the Padres. Right field is Mookie Betts from the Dodgers. Utility player is Brendan Donovan from the Cardinals. American League, pitcher, Shane Bieber. You guys know that name. Guardians, he got the Golden Glove. Catcher, Jose Trevino from the Yankees. We saw him, whatever. First base, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. from the Blue Jays. Second base, Andre Jimenez from the Guardians. Third base, Roman Arias from the Orioles. Shortstop, Jeremy Pena from the Astros. Left field, Stephen Kwan from the Guardians. Center field, Miles Straw from the Guardians. Right field, Kyle Tucker from the Astros. And the utility player is DJ LeMahieu from the Yankees. So, awesome, the Guardians. We had 4 Golden Glove winners. Again, Bieber, Jimenez, Kwan, and Miles Straw. Again, youngest team in baseball. We didn't really talk about that, but they were the youngest team in baseball. They were younger than 2 minor league teams. 4 Golden Glove winners this year. The guy that got left off, Jose Ramirez.
Yeah. Jose probably deserved to be on there as well. I think Straw, Kwan, Bieber, young guys. To see this defense be so good, see this team be as good as it was. Unfortunately, we haven't had that much time to talk about them because right before our first show was when they got eliminated, literally as we were to start. So we haven't had a chance to talk about these guys, so it's exciting to hear.
So, again, with talking about them being the youngest team in baseball, I know we kind of really haven't talked about baseball much, and we're going to. First time, 14 first-time Gold Glovers. 14 of them. First-time Gold Glovers.
Well, it just shows that, youth is important in baseball, especially on the defensive side. I mean, you can have these power home run hitters who play till they're 42, but when you take a player like that and they can't play defense, they can't play the field, they can't run the ball down, they can't force double plays, you hurt yourself defensively, and it puts you in a really bad spot come the playoff time. I mean, you saw the Yankees. Just because they had a bunch of power home run hitters doesn't mean you're going to win the World Series every year. And by the way, game starts at 8 o'clock tonight, Houston and Philly. Not rained out tonight.
Stephen Kwan is the first rookie Cleveland player to win. He also is the 5th rookie outfielder to win the Golden Glove. Just throw that out there. Thought it was kind of cool. So, sorry. We can go back to the trades. I just wanted to talk about that because that just got released, and, being that we are in Cleveland area, Cleveland-Akron area, it's good to talk about. So going back to these trades, I think one of the ones that stands out for me is Nyheim Hines going to the Bills. The Bills needed a stud running back to kind of complete their team, and they got it in Nyheim Hines. He takes over in Indy, he would take over when Jonathan Taylor was out, and they didn't skip a beat. Now he's in Buffalo, where he's just going to take over there. So that one for me is like, oh boy, and we get to see him in a couple weeks.
Yeah,
so
great.
Yeah, good job, awesome.
That and Bradley Chubb. Glad the Dolphins and Bills both made big deals today, right before they play the Browns.
Any do you stand out there? You want to see the list if you need to?
Out, but I'm like you with the Bears. I'm surprised the Bengals didn't trade for no offensive lineman.
Oh God!
Because they need him. So
they need a whole new offensive line.
But I think the Bears stand out. They're trying to get Justin Fields some help, and also Justin Fields he need a line as well.
He does.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to see Fields and them guys and young guys and new quarterbacks, they don't have an offensive line, but once they develop the offensive line, I think everything's going to start looking good for those guys.
And when did they play last? Was it Thursday night the Bears played?
Yeah.
And they won that game.
They did.
And they won that game solely on Justin Fields
against New England.
Making plays, not just dropping back and getting a lot of time. I mean, you saw the one pass where he got sandwiched, still got the ball out for a touchdown.
Yeah.
He went out there, he played his heart out. He did everything, threw his team on his back, and I think Claypool's really going to help him out.
Yeah, and then, again, kind of jumping sports around a little bit, big news today, Steve Nash gets fired from the Nets. So, last 2 seasons he's had him in the playoffs. But, lots of things going on with the Nets right now.
Yeah, deservedly so. He needed to go. He has no control over that locker room.
Here we go.
But the rumor is, right?
What's that?
Boston's head coach.
Boston's head coach, yes,
Yeah.
I did hear that.
Yeah. He got suspended from Boston, and they're like, all right, we'll take you. Let's do it.
But how they going to pull that power?
I mean, he's suspended for a year, and I think it's only a suspension from Boston. I don't think it's from the league.
Man.
But the thing is they're going to take over his contract.
I think they will.
How they gonna work out?
I think they will. I think they'll be like, here you go, Boston, whatever.
They
we'll
probably
take the coach.
would.
I mean, you had this coach had the Celtics in the finals. All right, he had them in the finals. So I think the Nets, having the team they have, are like, you know what, we need a good coach. You just had your team in the finals. Boston, here's their money for this contract. We're taking him. I think, and the Nets, I don't think they care either way.
I mean,
They have to go all in.
I think it's a win-win situation for the coach.
Yes.
Boston, but how Boston may feel about trading their coach into their division.
Right. I mean, but is it trading him, or is it just because he's suspended?
It'd be a trade. It got to be.
Like-
They want something out of the cookie jar. Trust
I mean, yeah, of course they do. But again, is there a trade, or is it here? We're buying him out because he's suspended.
Yeah.
He's suspended, so he's not really like. Is it like I said, the matter of just here? Here's the money. We're taking him.
That's going to be interesting how that's going to come out.
So I get just talk. I know we're jumping sports around, but big news.
That's what we do.
So, all right, well, that's it. We've jumped around enough tonight. And so make sure you tune in. Again, later tonight you'll have the Jefferson little bit of highlights as well as the interviews with Coach Hannah. And then next week we'll get back into some more high school playoffs and see what else is out there for you. Thanks for tuning in.
Good night.
Shirts.